Good afternoon. It is a beautiful day. It's actually quite warm out tonight, which is good because I need to go out and get something to eat because there's nothing in the house. And it's a bit hazy, but it's quite pleasant. I'm hoping I'll get into queue later on and want to take some photos. For what I tend to do is I tend to take like a bunch of photos once a week, and then I can use them for Instagram all week. So that's my plan for today. I've got lots of board papers to read, which is, great fun. And a stag do to go to this evening. And then tomorrow, I'm just basically going to lie face down on my bed, I should imagine, for most of the day. So that is the exciting world we have planned for this weekend.
Welcome to another episode of Toby Stupid Vlog.
So I finally got off the sofa and made it into the gardens. I'm going to do like a full loop. See how we go. Let's go this way. So here is the refurbished Cambridge Cottage where we will be getting married in 13 months and a bit. Minus the rug. The pictures back up, it's been painted, and various busts of the king and what have you, and his dogs. Definitely feels like spring in the gardens today, both temperature wise and flower wise. Very nice. This is Kew's little redwood forest, and I say little in every sense. Both the redwoods are little and the size of the forest is tiny. There's one other redwood which is towards the lake, which is a little bigger, but none of them are very old. So they are, I think, 100 years old or thereabouts, 75 to 100 years. So obviously redwoods can grow for thousands of years. And the biggest ones are more than twice the height of the pagoda. Just to put that in scale. So there's the pagoda in relation to the trees of Kew. I said again, more than twice the height of the pagoda. Just get some feel for how ginormous that is. I've never actually been to that part of the world to visit that, well, to visit, the woodland. I've been to Vegas, I don't think that really counts. But yes, coastal redwoods on the California coast, and then giant redwoods in the Sierra Nevada. Pretty special. Four Thieves. There's a lot of games and a serious lack of skill. Nice. Never seen a man play table tennis with a shark before. About 3 down. The only problem is Simon is probably the most sober person here.
I'm just kind of doing the same.
Just getting absolutely crap out.
The street light is burning really bright. Some folks say we go far.
Don't mind the shot. So we're playing crazy golf. Into a cupboard. It's hard to say definitively what happened. But suffice to say, it's not the right way. The hole's over here. Hello! Everyone's still standing, that's quite impressive. It's the end of the night, I'm waiting for an Uber.
It's 7:19 to I am present.
But I'm going home.
Oh no, it's a video.
It is far later than I thought I'd be out. It's like 2:30. I was like, oh yeah, I'll go along for like 2 or 3 hours, and then when it gets to like 11:30 I'll just make a move. Nope. That didn't happen. Everybody else had that plan. I failed. Anyway, Uber, thank you for getting me home. As always, you've been excellent. I'm going to bed because it's really late, and Crystal's about 15 minutes away, but I'll probably be asleep before that happens. Good morning from All Bar One. After about 5 hours sleep, we're now having breakfast. It's very good though. As you can see, avocados. And the sun is coming out. It's very pleasant. One of the joys of spring is even when you leave work late, like now, and it's 7:15. Sun still hasn't really set that long ago. I must have missed an excellent sunset looking at it. That's the most gutting thing about working late. Oh well, I'll make up for it by getting up really early tomorrow. So this evening I'm in the Publican Awards. A quiet little piss up, constructed brewery. Hello, good evening. We haven't spoken in 24 hours because it's been manic. So the awards that you just saw, they went on very late. Everything about them was late. People were stuck in traffic and, excuse me, they didn't turn up on time, and the awards didn't start on time, and dinner wasn't served on time. And anyway, long and the short of it was we finished at about, I don't know, 12:30 or something. I was in bed by about 1:30. So I was exhausted this morning, and then I knew I had to get up and carry on work on this thing with this documentary making, and that was just difficult today, I'll be honest, just difficult. It just nothing was working. And on top of that, I've got a board meeting tomorrow, and some of the papers are rather challenging. So that's why I look like I should be asleep. But today technically was the first day I got home before it was dark, so that's a good start, as it were. Spring is very nearly here. But frankly, this morning I woke up with a hangover, even though it was the Publican Awards, and I might have been the only person there who wasn't drinking. So I woke up with a hangover by proxy, which is the most disappointing type of hangover you can have. So anyway, I've got more board papers to read. I've got more documentaries to make all before tomorrow. I was going to do a catch up with Vino today, but that didn't happen because she put her back out. So there's not much more fun stuff this week is what I'm getting at. Friday night will be fun by the virtue that the week is finished. But beyond that, it's going to be nose to the grindstone. So this is my view again this morning. I'm feeling much more awake though, that's the good news. I had sort of an epiphany on the train on the way home yesterday, and my brain sort of clicked back into gear, which is helpful. So I've sort of rebuilt parts of this documentary now that I know what I'm doing. Or, well, at least I think I have. No one else has heard it yet, so who knows? And next door, we have people trying the Oculus Rift, which is seeming to make a lot of people rather terrified and motion sick. So that's fun. So everything is happening today. It's a beautiful day out, which I'm missing by being in the studio all day. Did have a go with the Oculus Rift. It is very strange, is what I'll say, and very expensive. They come out very soon. I think Sony are actually bringing out their own VR headset. It's much easier than the ones of old, the ones from the 90s. But still, it's still some resolution issues, which I think they'll have corrected by the time they get to the final release, and some focusing, but that's just due to my eyes being rubbish. If you've never tried VR before, then I'd certainly recommend you had a go if somebody's got one or you see one on a stand somewhere. It's always quite good fun. If you've tried it before, then this is no different to any other VR. It's just smaller and cheaper. I'm still not convinced that games will be the making or breaking of virtual reality. I think it'll be more practical applications that will actually decide whether it succeeds this time, where it failed so spectacularly last time. The cost was obviously prohibitive. When they first came out, like 15 years ago, it was about 10 grand a piece. Now it's like 500 quid. But still, I don't think gaming will necessarily be its salvation, even though Sony's sort of doubled down on it. Anyhow, back to the office for a bit more editing. Then I'm going to get on the train. I'm going to traverse the whole of London, go all the way to Teddington this afternoon for a board meeting, or this evening I should say. And then tomorrow will be strangely slightly more relaxed, believe it or not, because most things will be done by then. I might have a lie down. So then, another Friday in Camden. The board meeting last night was quite intense, as I had expected. There were a few issues that needed discussion. They got discussion. We got resolution of some sort. It's going through a lot of change at the moment. It's quite difficult to sort of get it, get a path that everyone's happy about, that they can all work towards. But I think we're getting there. So that was exhausting. I mean, I was really buzzing and I couldn't go to bed when I got back because my head was going. It always happens after board meetings, like 1,000 thoughts a minute. Today, however, I'm in the studio again, finishing a bit more magic Oliviers related documentary work, which I'll show you in a moment. So here we are. If you never seen what a radio documentary looks like, there you go. Essentially, you've got the green channel at the top is the narrator. The purple is all the contributors, so people talking, lots of people talking. And then the sort of maroon and dark green channels are music. And it's in 3 parts. If you zoom out, you can see them all. There's also a blue channel at the top where you've got a slight bit of extra voice that you need for something or other. And then it all goes through this green fader here, which is an AUX fader. That processes the voices separately to the music, and then it all goes through a master. And this needs to be finished at 3 o'clock, because then it is all going over to Magic, so they can put it on air on Sunday. So things are going really well. Like, we're trying to source the right piece of guys and dolls and what have you. This has basically been my view for the last few days, and will probably continue to be my view next week. Well, that was cutting it fine. And by cutting it fine, what I mean is we're an hour late. So that's gone well. There might still be some changes to come. But now I'm moving on to the next project, which has to be finished before I go home, which is the holiday programme. So that should be fun. Tonight I am just going to collapse. We're going to Simon's wedding tomorrow and I'm taking photos, but I can't really think about that too much just yet. So, yeah, collapsing is really the only thing on the agenda. I'm home and it's so nice to be back. Oh. Anyway, that has been a crazy week from a work perspective. A little boring for you, I apologise. Next week, hopefully things will sort of come back to some semblance of normality. It is Easter next Friday. It's Good Friday. And this weekend, as I mentioned, it's Simon and Anshan's wedding, so I'll be photographising that. So that should actually be quite enjoyable. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching this. I do hope you'll subscribe. That can be done by clicking the red subscribe button, which is below this video in most instances, unless you're watching this in 50 years' time and YouTube's put it somewhere really dumb. If you want to see any of the other videos, then there'll be a link at the end for next week and last week. Next week will obviously only be available if you're watching this at least a week after I upload it. Anyway, I hope I will see you next week, and please subscribe before then. Thank you and good night.
Toby's